Hi, welcome back to Le Pineapple Chunks. This is Tabitha. I got laid off. So, let's do something that isn't that serious. In front of me, I have copious amounts of sour candy, and I will be Googling random words and saying the first thing that comes to my mind. So, all I did was Google random words, and a whole bunch of random word generators popped up. Hold on. I'm gonna get some candy. I didn't realize I grabbed those. Ooh, I have some Chips Ahoy. Those are not as good as I remember them being. Anyway, so I type in random words, like literally the words random words, into Google, and a whole bunch of websites that came up along the lines of random word generator came up. And I clicked on one, and I have 50 random words generated of all word types with any amount of syllables. So all I'm going to do, because this is very low stakes and low brain power is necessary, because I am still devastated and I plan to get very drunk later. But all I'm going to do is either say the first thing that comes to mind when I read the word, or if it sparks a story or anything like that. So, low effort, which is my forte. All right, let's generate the words. The first word is thick, with one C. That doesn't actually, honestly, all that sparks is thick with one C. It's not very thick. Oppose. Actually, that did spark a memory. So, in high school, we did government. It was just for a semester, but we had to do this, it was kind of a debate. I can't remember what the name of the competition was, but the winner got to go to Washington and debate with other teams in Washington, D.C. We lost. We came in dead last against the 4 schools that we were against. We didn't even make it out of our town, just to be clear. But yeah, so we had to use old laws and different historical events to argue different points. Some of them are pretty serious. Like, one of the ones I had is, should we accept immigrants and refugees based on what it says on the Statue of Liberty, which is the send me your tired, hold on, I should Google that. It says, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. I definitely said those words wrong. But yeah, we had to make an argument for and against every argument that we presented based on the prompt we were given. So the next one is overwhelm. The first thing that came to mind was, I might have already talked about it briefly, but my first semester of college, I had to take a public speaking class, and we had to do speeches, obviously, and I was usually okay. I would have to write my speeches out in advance, or else I wouldn't have any idea what I was going to say. I would literally memorize it and bring the paper up with the entire speech written on it. And hold on, I'm going to take a drink. And the last speech I did was on, is a passion for teaching enough to, is a passion for teaching enough to stimulate an entire career of teaching? because you don't make a lot of money, all of that stuff. So is your passion enough to fuel you for an entire career, basically? Because I was wanting to be a teacher. I was wanting to be a music teacher, actually, and I had an absolute meltdown in that class. There was this girl that made my life absolute hell in high school, and we went to the same college, and she was in that class. And it was stupid because I wasn't scared of her. I was over what had happened in high school, but it was just, when you're anxious, nothing makes sense. There were a lot of people, and I had been fine all semester. This was the final project, and I just, full on meltdown, panic attack, hives, hyperventilating in the bathroom. I thought I was going to pass out. The teacher was kind enough to let me redo the speech in a room with just her. So, it was awful, but that's okay. The next word is bay. The first thing that pops in my head is my favorite joke, which is, are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Why do seagulls fly over the sea? Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be bagels. That's my favorite joke. My second favorite joke is, what do you call an owl's beak? Do 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 do. Who knows? Because it's like a who, because that's what an owl says, and nose, because the beak is a nose, and who knows, because who knows. Okay, anyway. Why are my two favorite jokes bird jokes? Graphic. Has anyone seen Switched at Birth? I have not seen the whole show, but this word made me think of that season where I honestly can't remember their names. Bay and Daphne, right? Bay takes the fall because she's graffitiing something, and then Emmett gets hurt on the barbed wire fence. Wow, I need to rewatch that show. That's what it made me think of, because they're graffitiing something, and graphic art. That's what it made me think of. Kit. The American Girl doll. Rage. Inside Out. Tolerate. Girl, I don't know. I'm gonna have another cookie. That'll definitely help. Tolerate. We're going to go ahead and skip this one. Consolidate. This is making me think of something, but I can't pinpoint it. It's like a far off memory. Consolidate. Maybe it's about merchandising. So when I worked at my old job, Med Fryer, I was a merchandiser, and I worked in the clothing department. And when product would sell down and we would only have a little bit of it, we would have to consolidate it onto one rack. That's the best I got, y'all. Fragment. A sentence fragment. Ooh, I know what I can. Okay, so this just sparked a good memory. Let's see. So there's this thing, you guys might have seen it. It's called This Sentence Has 5 Words. Let me pull it up. I'm going to read it, so it's not going to have the same effect as if you read it. However, it's my favorite thing, and that's just what it made me think of. Which there are no sentence fragments in here, but it made me think of it. Shut up. It goes, this sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more words. 5-word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Listen to what is happening. The writing is getting boring. The sound of it drones. It's like a stuck record. The ear demands some variety. That was a burp. Now listen. I vary the sentence length and I create music. Music. The writing sings. It has a pleasant rhythm, a lilt, a harmony. I use short sentences and I use sentences of medium length. And sometimes when I am certain the reader is rested, I will engage him with a sentence of considerable length, a sentence that burns with energy and builds with all the impetus of a crescendo, and the roll of the drums, the crash of the cymbals. Sounds, they say, listen to this. It is important. So write with a combination of short, medium, and long sentences. Create a sound that pleases the reader's ear. Don't just write words, write music. Gary Provost. I love that. I don't know why. I had it as my Facebook profile picture for the longest time. And I also had it on my Instagram. Super obnoxious. Anyway, that's what the word fragment made me think of. Value. Great value. Walmart. My shitty job at Medfryer. Moving on. That's not where I got laid off from, by the way. I got laid off from by the eye clinic. I quit the Medfryer job. Reliance. I'm gonna have another cookie. Okay. Now I put the cookie in my mouth, I just thought of something. It makes me think of Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation and how we're all reliant on the government. And there's a line he says about suckling on the government's teat that just... chef's kiss. Okay. Cope. Me right now making a podcast eating cookies because I got laid off from my job. Research. Something I hate. I hated it in high school. I was my skills were math and writing. And so usually they pair English and social studies and math and science, but I hated science. I hated research. I hated data collection. Like, give me an equation and I'll have a great time. But make me find the data to put in that equation? No, I think not. Statement. America's Next Top Model. Don't ask. Oh no, I dropped a cookie in my breast pocket. Do. This makes me think of late nights in high school. My AP Honors English class. My AP Honors, that's not a thing. My AP English class. And my pregnant friend who just had her baby and he's the cutest thing. His nursery is like a Harry Potter theme. It's so cute. I'm going to send her a little baby sorting hat. Horror. (2016) Fashion. America's Next Top Model. Whisper. Do you guys remember that app? Whisper. It was like you can post your confessions and no one will ever know that it was you. Whisper. Nominate. This reminds me of high school prom king and queen, and homecoming nominations. And it always being the same, like 4 people. Yeah. B. Extinction. Please send help. The planet is dying. Fair. My Fair Lady with Audrey Hepburn. It's where the song, well, actually, I don't know where, it's definitely not where it came from, but, the song I Could Have Danced All Night. Highly recommend. Look it up. Audrey Hepburn, My Fair Lady. Actually, I don't even think it was sung by her. Someone else, because she didn't have the sound that they wanted or something. So most of the singing in My Fair Lady wasn't actually Audrey Hepburn. Fun fact. Coincidence. The word coinkydink. Sofa. Why don't they just call it a couch? cell phone. Where is mine, actually? Hold on. Oh, I found it. Don't worry. It's in my lap. Sign. This makes me think of two things. Sign language, which I took a class and a half of. I dropped out because I had a full-on mental breakdown last semester. And the other thing is a really awful Helen Keller joke that I don't know if I should say. It's gonna offend someone. I'll say it anyway. I just got laid off. It's how did Helen Keller break her arm? Because she was trying to read the stop sign while driving. Ant. This makes me think of picnics. I want a picnic. Public. Coronavirus. Lion. Russia. Broadcast. PBS. Swipe. Tinder. Cause. Feminism. Seminar. Okay. I don't remember which YouTuber it was. Honestly, Danny Gonzalez, Drew Gooden, and Cody Ko, all of their videos, actually, and Curtis Connor as well, all of their videos kind of blend together in my head. Like, I know they're different people and I like them all, but all of their videos just, I can't remember who made what video unless I go look for it. And one of them made a video on this seminar for women, made for women but ran by men. And they just basically made fun of everything that it was, which, you know, was quality. Also, I don't know how many I've done because I totally refreshed the page and now I'm going one by one. So we'll just go until I'm not sad anymore. So let's go. Cow. That cow that dunks his whole head in the bucket of milk. You know, the TikTok or the YouTube video or whatever. And then he shoots it out his nose. Dilute. So I worked at a little gift shop in my hometown, and I remember the first time I was having to mop. I was 15 when I got my first job, and I remember I had to mop the floors of the bathroom, and I put so much bleach in that bucket, and I got yelled at because I was supposed to dilute it more. Look at that. Loan. I just bought a car. Send help. Album. My dad has this album called Morris the Moose, which is this really sad song that it's about a moose that just wants to be a reindeer. Or the album isn't Morris the Moose, it's just a song on that album. But yeah, the moose wants to be a reindeer, but he's a moose, not a reindeer, so he can't. And also, it makes me think of What a Girl Wants with Colin Firth and Amanda Bynes, where they're like walking by the record shop and he's like, "Ooh, strange and kooky sounds. I've been looking for this." And then she makes him headbang to music. Classroom. This again makes me think of my AP English class, because that class caused me a lot of stress in high school. Privilege. Me. I'm a white female. What the heck? Guideline. Meant to be broken. Middle. Middle child, always forgotten. I'm the youngest with only one sibling, so we don't have one of these. Decline. Stock market. Sight. Helen Keller. Equation. My teacher in high school. That's all. Chest. What kind of chest? You can't see me, but I'm doing creepy eyebrows. Chest of drawers, maybe. Beauty and the Beast. Vessel. Oh, there was this book I read. It was about, I can't remember what it was called, but it was this girl and she was crossing the ocean and she like causes a mutiny and she becomes the captain of the ship. I don't remember what it's called, but it was a quality book. Pier 1, it just closed in my town because we're all poor. Rhetoric. Again, my AP English class. Proof. So, let me think what class. Yeah, so again, my AP English class, we had to write these essays, and one of the words we could not use was proves, because nothing actually proves anything. Different pieces of evidence provide examples and reasons and, reasons to believe something, but nothing can ever prove anything, according to my English professor, my English teacher. So that was one of those words that you can't use. You can't say it proves something. Check. But not spelt CHEQUE. It makes me think that the English language is stupid. Moving on. Preference. LGBT. Corpse. Italy. Taxi. Interview taxi drivers. Throwback to the first episode I did like 2 days ago, where one of the ideas on how to start a podcast was to interview a taxi driver. Handy. Bob the Builder. Reconcile. Ooh, I don't want to talk about that one. Industry. This honestly... Industry. This makes me think of the Industrial Revolution, which I don't feel like is very creative, but you know what? That's not what this is about. This is about saying the first thing that comes to my mind. Beam. Beam me up. Dr. Enterprise. Biscuit. Okay, so at my beloved job at Medfryer, we were not allowed to say the word shoplifter or any of those things. So if we saw someone who we suspected of shoplifting or nefarious actions, we would call them biscuits because we could get away with it. Momentum. I don't know why, but this makes me think of Taylor Swift, and I don't have time to analyze that. Embark. So this makes me think of another book. I don't know if anyone read it. It was a little known, very short, very realistic series called The Warriors, who is about clans of cats. And they go on a lot of journeys. Yeah. Thigh. I just watched this comedy special. I can't remember what her name was. Eliza, maybe. But she was talking about how at your wedding you have to like jam the garter up on your fat thigh. Like why don't we put our garter on our ankle because it's like the smallest part. And she didn't wear a garter because she didn't want to like cut off the circulation in her leg. It was really great. I highly recommend it. It's like Eliza Unveiled or something. Wind in the Willows. Trial. I was on grand jury duty. Blackmail. I can't think of anything. I'm gonna need a cookie. I adjust my sleepy foot. Shout out to anyone who stuck around this long. I'm a mess. I appreciate you. But I got, when I posted the last one, I got 4 more downloads, so that was pretty cool. On Podbean. I don't know why anyone's listening to this. If you are, hi. I'm a mess. Like I said, I just got laid off. I'm gonna get very drunk after I post this. However, I am privileged enough to have a family to support me if I need it. And I will be okay. I just know there's some people who are not in this situation to be okay. Tear. Literally me for the past 7 hours. Deprivation. Sleep deprivation. Me when I was working at Mid-Fryer. Monster. They did the mash. They did the monster mash. The monster mash. Lip. Honestly, Kylie Jenner. Reproduction. Grease 2. Country. Country boy, I love you. Sermon. Okay, so I grew up Baptist, but unfortunately that is not the first thing that came to my mind. The first thing that came to my mind was that vine of the preacher going, wah, 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 wah. Arrogant. Pride and Prejudice. Entertainment. Okay, so there's this band that I absolutely love with my whole heart and soul, called AJR. And they have a song called The Entertainment's Here. Gain. Gaining weight, me right now eating 37 cookies. Devote. Hopelessly devoted to you. What is with Grease right now? Railroad. Okay, so I know there's a whole song about, I've been working on the railroad, but the first thing that popped in my head, which I cannot explain this any better than you can, was there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, a hole. I could sing that whole, maybe that'll be a podcast. I'll sing There's a Hole in the Bucket for 2 hours. Treat. It makes me think of my dog. Ambition. I have none. Teacher. I used to want to be one. Nose. I want to get a nose job. Not gonna lie. Track. What the Illuminati is gonna do with my blood that I was not allowed to donate today. It was a whole thing. I was really frustrated. Excavation. There were these books. It was some like Daddy, Is God Real or something, which I mean in this context, girl, but I was a good little Christian kid. It did not mean Daddy is such a stigmatized word now. Anyway, so yeah, and they like talk about the dinosaurs and all that stuff, and like were the dinosaurs real, is God real, is all that stuff. It just like has a child view of Christianity and dinosaurs. I don't really know, man. It just explored different things, and they have one where they're excavating paleontologists. They're not excavating the paleontologists, they're excavating with paleontologists. Cover. My cover of There's a Hole in the Bucket. Grow. Okay, so I have these plants on my dinner table, and they're all dead. I have 3 pots of them, and every single one of them is brown. And then I have a little stalk of bamboo, who is also brown and dead. And I had to give... So my best friend gave me a part of her succulent when she moved, because she couldn't bring the whole thing. He has since become very dead, and she moved back into the state, and she's rehabilitating him. I have not heard news, which I'm thinking is a bad sign. We'll see. It also makes me think of the Lorax. Advisor. Makes me think of the people at the university that are terrible listeners. Advantage. I don't know. Advantage. Am I just real dumb? Advantage. We're going to skip that one. Axis. It makes me think of the earth. Process. It makes me think of like a processing plant. Like, a factory or something. Score. It makes me think, okay, so my neighbor, I was like really good friends with her, and her mom, we had like this whole feud and stuff, and they threatened to shoot my dog. It was a whole thing. It was like when I was little. But her mom, anytime anything would happen in her favor, she would like scream score and throw her arms up. It was super annoying. Agony. Me. Because I just got laid off. I need another cookie. Speculate. It was all of us today trying to figure out what all of our individual meetings were for. Although we should have known, we were all getting laid off. Prospect. I am too sad. Offensive. The Helen Keller joke I made earlier. Valley. Valley girl. Coffin. That's a loaded one. We're going to skip that one. Peasant. Plebeian. That's the word that peasant makes me think of. Hate. Myself. Cross. Christianity. Church. All those things. Clinic. The place I just got laid off from. That's not triggering at all. Thanks, Google. Waiter. It makes me think of all the people that are getting laid off. Introduce. I need another cookie. This is terrible. They're not even good. Frank. It's a hot dog. Or it's the character from My Fair Lady. No, not My Fair Lady. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Those are two very different movies. Marble. It makes me think of Jenna's Chihuahua. Belly. Bellyache. Billie Eilish. Export. This country's ruined. Champagne. Is it a color or a drink? Few and far between. Academy. Police. Drift. Snowbank. Cope. Alcohol. Pavement. Pavement. Cracked. Morning. With an O. Just an O. But if it had a U, it would be me right now because my job. Cut. So, I'm a very clumsy person, and a little while back I was making some food for a potluck at work, and I was cutting, I think I was cutting the ham for it, because I was making these little sliders, and I was cutting the ham, and I sliced my finger. I sliced, like, it's hard to describe without, like, showing a picture, but, it was like, you know when you're making a snowflake and you fold it and then you cut into it and it's like a diagonal cut. When you open it, it's a flap. That's what I did to my finger. And I super glued it and I went to work. I didn't bring the food though. Examination. I just had to go to a dermatologist to have a mole looked at to make sure I didn't have skin cancer. Critical. And the type of employee I wasn't. Lamb. Again, Christianity. Penny. Penny for your thoughts. Infection. Not even gonna touch that. Ice. Ice, baby. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Deadly. The virus. Solve. High school. Barrier. The Great Barrier Reef that we are very quickly killing. Pack. You can pack a punch or a pack of gum. Personality. This makes me think of DID, which is, you know, a hot button topic right now on YouTube because of dumb people. But I watched this girl and her name is Dissociated. She's a lot of fun. She has the dissociative identity disorder. So she just makes educational videos about that. Brother. It makes me think of the Vine of, not the Vine, James Charles's little brother. When James Charles is like, sister, and he's like, brother. That's what it makes me think of. Similar. Me and my sister. Go. This makes me think of another Dr. Seuss book called Go Dog Go. That's all. Fresh. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which I've never seen before. Study. It makes me think of the game of Clue, where the study is a room. Scream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Heel. Makes me think of an obedient dog, which my dog is not. Hypnotize? Is that spelled right? Oh, I'm going to assume it's hypnotize, and it makes me think of the most recent, not the most recent, but a recent Unus Annus video where Mark and Ethan from Unus Annus get hypnotized. Doubt. Nope. Outer. Outer space. Outer darkness, which is like hell for Mormons. Hesitate. I have no idea. Lift. L-I-F-T. Well, it makes me think of the driving service, first of all. And then it makes me think of, you know, do you even lift, bro? Gesture. A grand gesture. It makes me think of whatever that movie was where he's like holding the boombox up to her window with a love song. Petty. High school. Dine. Dine and dash. Something we're not allowed to do right now. Two separate sentences. Road. It makes me think of road rage. Makes me think of snow. Yeah, it makes me think of bad weather. Let's see. How far along am I? I am 37 minutes in. Holy guacamole. All right, we'll do a couple more. Play. It makes me think of when I used to play my instruments, which I only really do my ukulele now, which is fine. You know, I'm doing what I need to do, living my best life. Slime. It makes me think of YouTube in like 2017, 2018. Ballet. I used to want to be a ballerina, but I had no chance. I did gymnastics when I was really, really little, like 2 or 3, when it's not even worth it for kids to be doing gymnastics. And then we had to quit because it was too expensive. Lounge. Again, I'm fairly certain that this makes me think of Clue. Die. Not touching that one. Remunerate? Isn't it remunerate? I'm gonna skip that one. Lane. Stay in your lane. Late. I didn't have a curfew, like ever. Respect. I didn't have a curfew because my parents respected me and I respected them. That's a lie. Psychology. I am actually really interested in psychology. I just don't think I would have the patience for patience. I would be more interested in the research of psychology, actually, which is interesting because I just said I hate research. But I don't know, maybe the right kind of research I would be able to handle. Art. So I took one art class in high school, and it was my second semester of my freshman year, and it made me think of a very, very specific drawing. I'm a terrible artist. I have no hand control. My handwriting is terrible. Everything. Just sloppy. And there's a challenge going around of makeup right now on YouTube, and it's like, you know, doing my makeup in 1 hour versus 10 minutes versus 1 minute. So kind of the same thing. It was, you have 10 minutes to do a drawing and then 5 minutes to do a drawing, and then actually I think it was like 5 minutes and then 1 minute and then 30 seconds and then 10 seconds, and then you have 1 second to do a drawing. And so you had the panel of like 4 pictures, and they got progressively worse and worse and worse, and it was just a lot of fun, and we laughed a lot. And it was like a special guest artist. He did comics for our local newspaper. Yeah, just a lot of fun. Peanut allergy, which I do not have, but my sister does. Negative, my blood type is O negative. Terms and conditions, the thing that we always ignore. Network, this makes me think of when your insurance is out of network and they don't want to pay for something. Limit, the limit does not exist. Word, this makes me think of the word game that everyone over 30 seems to play like religiously on their phones. Words with Friends. Costume, this makes me think of theater, which once again I might have to do an entire podcast and just theater shenanigans. Expertise, it makes me think of doctors, honestly. Hen, I had a lot of chickens growing up. Like we had like 45 chickens, and every single one of them had a name, and we lost them in a very unfortunate event. But yeah, I had chickens for most of my childhood up until I was, I want to say 17. Favorable, this makes me think of Pride and Prejudice again. Button, Benjamin Button. Sketch comedy, or the sketches that police do, or the crime investigators, or the criminal artists, or you know what I mean. Vague, literally every fan fiction story I ever wrote. I would leave it off and I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to finish this. And then I would go back and read it, and I would have no idea what I had plans for because it was so vague. And I wanted to leave the reader guessing, but like I was guessing too. Menu. I ordered from a local burger place because they're trying to stay in business. You know, they're doing deliveries, they're walking your food out to you just so they can keep people employed. And I'd look their menu online. Steak. This again makes me think of theater, because in theater I played a vampire and someone stabbed me with a stake. Ghostwriter. This makes me think of that girl, that British girl, Zoella. That's what it makes me think of. Breed. It makes me think of how I have no idea what breed of dog my dog is. Tasty. BuzzFeed. Momentum. Didn't I already have this one? Warning. Things we all ignore. Species. Ooh, this makes me think of the penguin thing. So it was keep penguins cold or find good shelter. So it's kingdom, phylum, no, keep penguins. So kingdom, phylum, class, origin, family, genus, species. Keep penguins cold or find a good shelter, or something like that. Normal. Bus stop, which is another theater shenanigans that I talked about briefly last time. Implication. How everything you say can have serious implications and unintended consequences, which in turn makes me think of The Good Place, which is a great TV show, and I can't wait for it to come to Netflix. Fame. This makes me think of the Taylor Swift song, The Lucky One. Colleague. The thing I have no more of. My neighbors are arguing. Oh well. Understand. Wow, they're really arguing. They're screaming at each other. I might have to call the police again. Window. The thing I'm looking out of right now, watching my neighbors argue. Do. I already had this one. Apple. This makes me think of teachers. Let me find a good one before, because it'll be my last one. District. This makes me think of the Hunger Games, which I unironically loved. I adored it. I could not wait for the movies. I had a countdown to when the second part of Mockingjay was coming out. I was obsessed. They're really arguing. They're really going at it. I need to I don't know if you can hear that. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm gonna play the ukulele very quietly and right next to the microphone so that they don't know I'm awake. Ready? I'm gonna do, what's a really easy chord? Let's do an E minor. Ooh, that was not good. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Bye.